loading that last one, watching it, and then at the end it had a thing, and it had nuclear engineer fascinated by the. It's an hour and 30 minutes about the Shroud of Turin and what this nuclear engineer has to say about it. It's like, no, and I'm not gonna watch what are the best fruits to eat or not to eat once you're past 50. What's the best cheese to eat with the cheese with the no. Just share a care given a course need built to last. Balance, harmony, and understanding. Okay. Eat food, okay, that's healthy. Don't process it, turn it into a food product, and then sell it for a profit for make-believe money that mass murders people with them having petroleum in their bodies before, their babies have petroleum in their bodies before they're even born because they live in the freeway next to El Paso, and they have petroleum in the snow and the rain that comes down in the rivers because of D.C. and Nashville. New York City ain't the place for me. What's the difference? The pollution in Nashville is just a little bit less concentrated, but it doesn't have the ocean to try to move it around other places, right? Guys understand? New York City is where a bunch of scared, abused, abusive people have been forced together by tribalism, okay? It's not the worst place on the planet, okay? Worst place on the planet? Fort Huachuca, and then White Sands Missile Range. Those are the two worst places on the planet because they have the Messiah, they have the truth of the Messiah, and they're still using Wi-Fi technology to threaten to blow up everybody with nuclear weapons if they can't fuck you in the head over money, okay? Just because the Manhattan Project came up with the idea doesn't mean the idea is any good anymore, okay? Yeah, I agree. The people in New York suck just as much as the people at Fort Huachuca and at White Sands, but what are you going to do? You can't make people be a good person. You can only be a good person yourself, right? You can't force them. They have free will, right? I'm not going to spend an hour and 30 minutes listening to why a nuclear engineer is fascinated with the Shroud of Turin. Because my father-in-law that passed away was a nuclear engineer and used to tell me I was a left-wing conspiracy lunatic thinking that the Tesla engine could do anything nearly as good as the combustible engine. It's like, yeah, I don't think it can go like 200 miles per hour, like, a combustible. But if, all I need to go is, I can't drive 55. I'm okay with it. Yeah, sure. A reasonable rate of speed that will get me in a reasonable time, They can go 75 miles per hour. Yeah. And you can do it with the damn computer driving you, and you can clap your hands to "We Will Rock You." That's just insane. I know it is. I want both hands on the wheel. Okay. Me? I'm not a control freak. It's a vehicle that's lots of weight going down the road that could hit a dog and then, cause me to have West Studi fix my Monte Carlo, right? Girl. I watched a movie recently. What was it called? Edge of America. That was it. But, so Earl, I watched a movie. I did. I sat and I watched the whole thing. I even got a little emotional about it on a couple of things. I'm like, it's a stupid movie, Earl. I know. It's not really that. It is stupid. Well, not technically it is, but not. It was made in honor to a guy that, I think his name was Billy Richardson, that went and coached kids on the reservation, and then they did a Glory Road with it. Ain't them dogs real voices, and it's not the real story. It's Disney doing the Amistad, and the Amistad movie sucks compared to the real story. It's like the real story is so much better. Why'd they do that? Because they're stupid, like Michael Crichton said. It's okay, Michael Crichton's stupid. He's a philanthropist. Okay, but you understand? A philanthropist can't get out of their own way. Like they were saying about Oregon last night. They were not getting out of their own way. They just had trouble dealing with a team that just had some athletic ability that they couldn't dominate like they dominated. Who'd they play last week? Was it James Madison? Yeah. So, Cinetti's old team, right? But they're not there anymore. He took most of the ones that he took Surratt and the other guys, he took them to, he took them to Indiana with him, right? He had this really good team, and James Madison still had a really good team. Okay, just not as good as the money that could pay for a team in Bloomington, Indiana than James Madison. Right. Yeah. Get a lot of rich people together, and if they're determined to Lucas Oil Stadium their way to the national championship, they will. Right? Like Saban said before quitting, now that they've legalized the money, it's going to be hard for Alabama to afford to keep up. I mean, we do have tradition on our side, but that may go away pretty quickly with the states that have more money to pay these kids. All right. Well, Texas has money, but they don't have the same kind of money in El Paso that they have in Austin or Lubbock. Okay. Hey, that's the Panhandle. That's where all the oil's at. Okay. So, yeah. So, give them time. They might win the softball championship here pretty soon. But Earl, give them time. Give them time. Earl, it's, tradition, money. And money's not real. So your tradition is based off of fantasy football. Okay, like your religion. There you go. And your science, right? Most of the science they do now is inconclusive and irrational. Like I said, my father-in-law was a nuclear engineer and told me I was wackadoodle, left-wing conspiracy theorist about the Tesla and about solar energy. Okay. It was like 20 years ago we had this conversation. No, you can solve, because I had a friend, John Draper, whose grandmother retired in Prescott Valley, Arizona, right? She put solar panels on her house, and the energy company, that's how she paid her bills and paid off her mortgage and all this stuff, she made more energy, okay? She produced more energy with her house and her solar panels, okay, than she used, way more than she used. He said, no, that's all bullshit and everything like that. It's like, no, it's true. No, it's not. They just say that. And I'm like, no, it's... And now, 20 years later, we have these things. These people come with the things. No, if you do that, you burn too much, and they're not going to pay you for what you produce. So you don't want to produce too much because, you'll have the things. What if I want to share it with my neighbors? What if I can afford it? And what if I want to have it go into the grid and go to Miss Martinez and Mr. Chavez? You can't do that. Why? Because it's not, okay, we're not equipped. Okay. You're not equipped to handle that. What if we hook up a transformer and build a shed and put a Tesla power wall in his garage and in her shed? Can we do that then? I'm Keanu Reeves. I'm feeling like I want to be a nice guy. Can I do that? I'm Mr. Otani in Hawaii, and I want all my neighbors to get energy from my solar panels. It's our grid. We're being a cooperative. Okay. We're First Lakes Federal Credit Union. Okay, Earl? Do you understand? How cooperative, how communist of you. Communist of me? Socialist? No. Just being like King Solomon. Muhammad. Sure. My poor dad, he still does that. Every time I'll talk about Jesus, if I mention Muhammad being similar, he rolls his eyes and then he gets all indignant and shitty. And I'm like, okay, Dad, what if I told you that the spirit of Muhammad is the spirit of Abraham, and he's presently living in the flesh as Isaac Paul Benegas and not the mass murderer in Iran? I mean, everybody in their right minds, you mean Isaac Paul Benegas is, like the Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, right? He is the one like Abraham and Muhammad. Really? Yeah, I want him to be the guy, not that mass murderer in Iran. Me too, but it's not that. There's documentation, tons of it, okay, that says, okay, the Bible, the Quran, so on and so forth, okay, that says, the book of Malachi and stuff, that the spirit of Adam, Isaac, Jacob, Jesus, John, and Abraham are related through the mother's line. It's in the Surah of Mary in the Holy Quran. Okay. And my mom's name is Mary. And Isaac's mom's name is Mary. It's Pancha Benegas. Mary Frances. She's named after my aunt. And her name is Mary. Okay. She went by Frances because my grandma's name was Mary. Okay. And then she didn't like the name Frances. And when they went to El Paso, the name Frances in Spanish for female is Pancha, not Pancho. Okay. ¿Tú entiendes? Okay, it's Pancha. Okay. So my mother's name is not Mary Ann, it's Mary Ann. My mother changed it to one word. Okay. Grandpa used to call her Mary Poop. Okay. Grandma called her Mary Ann because grandma called her, like my Ralph Earl. Okay. And so my mother's name is Mary, middle name Ann. Okay. Mary, Ann Murphy. Okay. My mom changed her name to Mary Ann with an E, one word. Okay. My mother changed her name. Okay. But she was born, and on my birth certificate it says Mary Ann Murphy Parsons. Okay. Do you understand? Okay. G-force. Okay, Earl. I don't know. All I know is Mom was born in 38 and not 39. She lied to me. Okay. My sister Linda has her birth certificate. No, she was born in 38. She lied about her age. She said she was born in 39. No, her birth certificate says 38. So she was only 2 years younger than Dad, not 3. Right. Fascinating. What is it about women in line with their age? I don't know. They just all, when they're young, they lie about being older. When they're older, they lie about being younger. Okay. And it's like, what? Yeah. When they're young, they want to be older. When they're older, they want to be younger. They're not happy unless they're 35 forever or 18, whichever was their best year. When I was 17, that was a very good year. Right? So, it's funny. Age and women, me. I am what I am because I am it. And it sucks because when you're a kid and you're in high school and you have a crush on a girl, she wants to date all the guys in college because you're immature. It's like, what? And then when you get older, you're too old and they want somebody younger. It's just, they're never happy. Yeah, selfish people are never happy. I'm real aware of that. Okay. And if they ain't happy, nobody's happy. And the only time they think they're happy is when they're doing things that are selfish. And okay, trust me, it's happened to me with my wives and tons of people, okay? Whenever you are unselfish and try to help them not act selfishly so everybody else can have a good time, you're just being selfish, okay? You're being selfish. I'm being selfish. And then they make you feel that way for a minute, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you have to sit there and go, wait a minute. What the fuck did I just do? Because you don't want to be selfish. And then they explain to you, you're being selfish because of this and this. You go, oh, I'm sorry. Steffi used to do that to me all the time. You made me feel like you were trying to rape me and blah, 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 blah. And I would sit there and go, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. And then I would sit there and go, wait a minute. You instigated this, and then you tried to physically assault me the moment it didn't go the way you wanted it. And I'm the one who, okay. But you tried to kill me. Okay, you physically tried to kill me. I never physically tried to kill you. Okay, before, during, or after sex. No, I wanted to leave. Okay, before, never during, just before and after. Okay, no, I don't want this to happen, and I'm out of here. After, I told you I didn't want to do this. During, the whole time you're sitting there, wow, maybe this time it can, make the magic last for more than just one night. I know we could get to it if we could just break through it just once. I want to understand, with Amy, you'd have this great night. The next day you find her online, sex chatting with another guy. Oh, this is great, Cecilia. Okay. With Steffi, it was, men need to have orgasms and women don't. And then she gets with a woman and has an orgasm and she blames you. It's like, okay, Nola. You're blaming me for your noggin, right? Yeah, it's not my fault. I don't blame, no. If I don't enjoy having sex with a woman, it's not because of her. It's because of me. Like I told Deb when I was in Maria, I said, I couldn't enjoy it because we're not together. And I don't want that to happen anymore. I want a relationship like I told Patrick all the time. Is sex isn't sex unless you want her to stay and make breakfast the next day, and it's just, unless it's someone you want to be with for the rest of your life. It sucks. Okay. It does. Yeah, it does. Okay. No, Jeffrey Hinton and Jeffrey Epstein and Don Juan Trump and all those assholes and stuff. No. It's not the sex, it's the conquest. That's why they go from girls was so good next. I don't think Keith was saying that. I think he was saying when, a woman starts, I can't be myself when I'm with you. You don't like the clothes I wear on Sundays, and I believe the Lord knows I'm unhappy. I can't be myself. I think that's what Keith was saying in Girls Was Ex-Girl to the Next Girl. So stop jelling me, hon. Right? I don't think he was saying I want to conquer them. I think he was saying, I can't believe you let me run your confidence now. And I remember my dad. You didn't ask about my dad because you didn't like you. Every time I went to his place, your place, yeah, he could get hyper, right? So he wasn't talking about how he wanted to conquest the next girl. He wanted one that he could be himself with. Merle Haggard, right? So yeah, you don't like, don't make me over. Is that old Burt Bacharach too? I don't know how in the world to stop it. What a bourgeoisie song, right? I mean, I like it, but it's like one less bell to answer, one less egg to fry. Seriously, a bell? Was it the doorbell when he comes over? But I thought he was living there. Why would he ring the doorbell if he lives there? One less man to clean up after. So what a bourgeoisie song. I totally agree. Eliza, fetch my slippers. Okay. My Fair Lady. Seriously? How bourgeoisie of you. Okay, but it's... Girls will be so good. Next. Okay. I see you at the bus stop. Should I stop? I think not. Why are we at the bus stop? I don't know. We're sharing umbrellas and we're going shopping. No more shopping! Umbrellas are cool. Shopping. No. The marketplace during Muhammad's time and Solomon's time was share, care, given according to need, built to last. So what are you good at? Like they used to do under the swordsmen of Japan. Okay? Share, care, given according to need, built to last. What are you good at? Well, do that. Help other people learn to do it too. But if they prefer, I'd rather, could you help me do it? Or, because some people can try to burn the wood properly so it maintains itself, but they'll screw it up. Okay? So you have to get the guy in the service, I can't remember his name, the dude from Missouri that could back the anything into the C-130s without a spotter, because Dad's great, some people, and some people, he might have a cousin or a sister who just couldn't do it. So he had to do it because they would hit the side of the barn, right? You don't want to hit the side of the barn because, so well, just let Jimmy do it. Okay. And Jimmy will do it. Right. Well, what about when Jimmy's not there? We'll find somebody else. Okay. Before it was Pavarotti. Now it's Luther Vandross. Now it's Earl. I'm just kidding. I'm not that good of a singer, but Earl, I'm just joking around. I was being facetious. I don't need to be. Because Luciano and Luther are, right? And we got recordings, right? And it's not, Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. It's not writing down a story to crystallize somebody in time to make them the greatest. It's just, wow, that's really good. Let's fall in love. Why don't we fall in love, right? Okay, I love Nancy Wilson. I do too. And they crystallize it. Yeah, but that's not bad. But the memories I have with celebrities, okay, their lives are mundane and miserable. That drive me crazy. I would rather bake cookies with Kate, go hiking and gardening and make love with my wife than pretend to be something I'm not for make-believe money with a bunch of cameras rolling, get the action going. No, Andrew, a true connection here. Not going to happen. Okay, no, it's true. Because the thing is with memories, when you share memories, even your own, okay, you have a shadow of the memory of what it felt like to have the rotavirus and the flux and right? But you don't feel it. If you stay there, you'll be miserable and die from the misery of it, right? And the same with sex. It feels wonderful, but you don't stay there. Because if you did, you'd be like the rabbits that starved to death, pressing the rats that starved to death with, Leonard on the Big Bang Theory. The rats will do that. Who wouldn't, right? And it's like, well, I wouldn't. Well, I love my kids. The only reason I have sex is, to marry her and have kids and enjoy the kids. And if you're always having sex, you can't enjoy the kids. So I'm not an idiot on Epstein Island. I'm a man. Yes, I am. And I can't help but love you. So the best part of life is the sin is thrice. And I don't care for much, but I'm not letting go because I do, lost in love and I don't need money and I don't need your condemnation and I don't need your judgment and I don't need your virtual presence. Tell me what to do with your Wikipedia and Google me this and Google me that and don't TikTok me off the planet with your stupidity and your philanthropy and your insanity. You're a brain chemical addict and you really, really suck. We don't need a 12-step program. We need to apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer, share the stuff, and then the people having trouble with it, go have your problems, just not around me. Okay, guys? I love you, all right? Okay, don't lay awake at night thinking about your worries. And according to Patrick, I'm supposed to marry Helen. Yeah, because that's who he wants as a mother-in-law. So, Sade, you better be single because real soon I expect on having Patrick's mother-in-law, and it's you because Patrick picked. You're being facetious. Of course I'm being facetious, but I can flirt if I want to. Come on.